You guys ready for another $10.5 billion in interest expense on our national debt? Whenever the government decides to spend money, it goes to the national debt, and we pay interest on that. Let me show you 3 current spending decisions and what the actual cost will be on those. Example number 1, the White House ballroom project, which was originally promoted as costing $250 million to be paid by donors. Well, that cost estimate is now up to $1 billion due to security enhancements, but it must be approved by Congress. The interest on that $1 billion is about $332 million, adding $332 million to our interest expense over 10 years. We're already spending $1 trillion a year in interest expense. Second example is the Department of Justice created a $1.776 billion fund. The intent of the fund is to compensate people that claim they were targeted by the Biden administration. 10 years of interest on that $1.8 trillion is about $559 million. So the total cost of this anti-weaponization program is like $2.37 trillion. Remember, that's $550 million in new interest expense to us. Third, the cost of the Iran war. As of like a week ago, the Department of Defense testified before Congress that so far they spent about $29 billion on this war. But many analysts and economists outside the government say that number is very low, and it is still growing. Anyway, using that $29 billion figure, well, that's going to generate about $9.6 billion in interest expense over the next 10 years. So as of last week, so far the Iran war is costing us about $38.6 billion. So add all that up, we're looking at about $31.8 billion in unbudgeted surprise expense items. And then on top of that, it's going to be about $10.5 billion in additional interest expense. And we're already spending $1 trillion a year in interest expense, and we already have a national debt of $39 trillion. Look, this video is not about spending decisions. That's a policy debate. This is about understanding that every surprise project also incurs interest expense, out of control interest expense. Sources of my numbers will be in the description. Thank you very much, and don't forget to hit some reaction buttons. Like, subscribe, follow, comment. Thank you.